Hey, Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review for you. Going to talk about the 2022 David Cronenberg film, Crimes of the Future. If you're a fan of David Cronenberg and the old 90s body horror movies that he made, everything from The Fly on up, stop listening to this review and go watch Crimes of the Future. Came out in 2022, totally missed it, been planning to buy it on 4K for a long time. Decal released it in the United States, but as I said in my previous review of The Borderlands, Crimes of the Future came out in a very cool special edition from Second Sight in the UK that has learned if they will put all of the movie and extras on the Blu-ray that is region locked, they will put all of the movie and the extras on the 4K, which is not. It's a great package from them in a hard box with a very thick book, some postcards, and more. Get to that in a second. David Cronenberg hasn't done a science fiction horror movie since 1999's Existenz, and he really hasn't directed much of the 21st century. This is an old idea. The title is actually one of his first films, but it has nothing to do with that. This was a script that Viggo Mortensen said he'd been working on for a long time and refined it and finally hoped to get it made, and they did. It was a $27 million production. It was supposed to have a higher budget than that. It went on to gross about $4.5 million, so didn't do very well. Viggo Mortensen, Leah Seydoux, Kristen Stewart, and an almost unrecognizable Scott Speedman star in this film with a few other people. Viggo Mortensen is always great. He's fantastic. Leah is also good, and Kristen Stewart, I got to single out as also being really good. In the future, we don't get sick anymore. We don't really feel physical pain anymore. These things have happened. They don't really explain why these biological changes have happened, but it has led to people like performing surgery on conscious people in ordinary settings while people stand around and watch and clap and whatever, which leads us to a performance artist, Viggo Mortensen's character, Tensor. He can grow new organs. Yep. He sits in these biologically computerized chairs and things to eat breakfast, to sleep, and they seem to help him with these things. We've got biological computers, analog computers, that kind of thing. It's a different kind of future than we've seen before. And although there's not a whole lot of establishing shots of how the cities look or anything like that, there are a few outdoor scenes. Most of the story is told in these weird, dark rooms where these things are going on. Unlike a lot of Cronenberg movies, he just kind of drops you in this world. You see some things at first you don't really explain. A boy is smothered, if you're sensitive to that kind of thing. His mother didn't think he was human, and so she smothers him, and that plays into the story later on. We're introduced to Saul Tensor and his performance artist partner, as they do things like surgeries in public, and people watch it, and people pay to see this. People are doing this. People are surgically altering themselves and having themselves altered, and it's kind of a very weird future. This just have surgery. At some point, I think it was Kristen Stewart's character who said surgery is the new sex. Later, she tries to have sex with him, and he's like, I'm not good at the old sex. Yeah, it's a Cronenberg movie through and through. If you've been waiting for him to make another movie like this, it's got all the ooey gooey substance and creepy stuff that he usually puts in a movie. Plus, he has a lot more things to say. We run into some evolutionists who are trying to change their biologies for the future. It's really juggling a lot of very interesting ideas. I don't know that they all come home, but I don't know that that was the idea either. It kind of has a statement at the end, and then you're left to figure it out. I like movies like that. I like movies that take more than one time to figure out, and when you're watching it, you're realizing that as it goes, that I need to make notes, because the second time's going to be even more rewarding. It's Cronenberg through and through. It's intelligent. It's thought-provoking. It's a little sick and twisted, and all that together makes it, a Cronenberg movie through and through. He was nominated for a whole bunch of awards for this, but the only one he really won was Best Director in Canada from the Directors of Canada Board or whatever. He's got another movie coming out this year called The Shrouds, something like that, something he's had finished for about a year. I'm a huge fan of his older movies, and I'm happy that he's back doing this. Not my favorite movie of the year, but definitely one of the more interesting ones, and definitely one I keep on the shelf because I just like Cronenberg movies. I recently watched one of his earlier movies, and it was what it was. And I have a few more on the way. I have one I've never seen. There's a David Cronenberg movie that's quite famous that I've never seen. Details to come, and that'll be in an upcoming review as soon as I get a copy of it. It's supposed to come out sometime in March. Long story short, Crimes of the Future is David Cronenberg through and through. If you like David Cronenberg, this will be your cup of tea. If you think his movies are weird and disgusting, well, this is another weird and disgusting one that's intelligent and maybe over your head from time to time. But if you put in the time to let this movie kind of work its spell on you, you'll find it gets under your skin and in your head, and you'll be thinking about it a few days later. That's kind of my thing. There's a couple scenes that are a little bit controversial. There's some nudity in the film as well. All in all, it's Cronenberg more or less unfettered in modern times. A lot of practical effects. Pretty good, actually. Something I'll pull out again and get deeper into after I go through the book. The special edition from Second Sight, amazing. I could have just bought the 4K for a little bit, about $5 to $10 less, but having this and the book and the essays and the artwork and the hard box and all that, it's a really nice set from Second Sight, and I can't wait to get more of their stuff, even though they don't really have much that is either region free or things I'm into. But anyway, Crimes of the Future from David Cronenberg, the master is back, and I enjoyed it. What did you think of it? If you enjoyed the substance, I would say watch this movie. It's something like that may turn your stomach, but will also make you think, and I like that. More podcasts around the way. Please like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for taking time out to listen to one. Have a spectacular day.